When I was looking for a stove for the very small camper van, I wasn't sure if I should get a propane stove or a butane stove. I had used a propane camping stove in the prototype van, but I liked the compact size of the single burner butane stoves. I wondered which one would be the more economical to use and which one would give me the most cooking time for the least money. Butane for the stoves I was considering comes in 227 gram cylinder. That's half a pound, so 2 of them is the same as 1 pound of propane in terms of volume. Now if we look at cost, if you buy 1 cylinder of butane, it's $4.99 at good old Canadian Tire. But I usually buy them in packs of 3 for $7.99 for obvious reasons. It takes 2 cylinders to equal 1 pound of propane, which works out to $5.33 for 2 of them. Our 1 pound propane tank is $10.99 at Canadian Tire, or $24 for a 3-pack. So $8 per pound of propane versus $5.33 for 1 pound of butane. Part of the higher cost for propane is the heavy steel tank which is needed to keep the propane under pressure. And where I live, you can't get them refilled, so the tanks are most often thrown away. I try to hang on to my tanks until I'm at a national park, because they have special bins for collecting the empties. So far it looks like a bit of a win for the butane cylinder cost-wise. But this advantage goes out the window big time if you compare it to a refillable tank. Around here, it costs $7.99 for a new exchangeable 20-pound tank. But once you have the tank, you only pay $25.99 to get a refill. So 1/20th of that works out to $1.30 per pound, plus no tanks or cylinders to throw away. But it does require a lot more room for a tank that size. So for now, in a very small camper van, I'm sticking to the smaller tanks and cylinders. In energy, in BTUs, or British thermal units, it's easy to look up, so I don't have to see how many pots of water each will boil all by myself. 1 pound of butane, the content of 2 cylinders, will heat 63.68 liters of water, which is 67.29 quarts. Propane is about the same. It can heat 64 liters, or 67.63 quarts. So there's basically no difference between butane and propane in terms of heat given off by 1 pound. One last thing to consider is the temperature. And I don't mean the temperature of the stove, but the temperature outside. Butane has a boiling point of -1 Celsius, or just under freezing, compared to -42 Celsius, or -43.6 Fahrenheit for propane. This means that propane remains as a flammable gas in colder temperatures than the butane. As the temperature gets down towards freezing, the butane will just stop burning properly because it's becoming a liquid. In the end, the stove I chose can use both fuels, so most of the time I use the butane, because I like the fact that the canister takes up less room and is easier to put into the stove. But if I'm doing any cold weather camping, I can switch to propane. On a safety note, always store your extra tanks or canisters of fuel upright, never lying down. But assuming I'm not just planning to boil pot after pot of water, how much food can I cook with each cylinder before it runs out? When I was researching which fuel I wanted to use, most videos or sites just said, it depends on what you're cooking. And that didn't help much. So for you, we're going to look at what I cooked with 1 cylinder of butane. Here we go. Starting with a full cylinder of butane, we made a good old coffee with warm milk. It took 4 minutes and 30 seconds on high. Next, 4 slices of toast, which took 5 minutes on high. 4 eggs poached in salsa, 13 minutes and 30 seconds on low. 2 quesadillas, cooked one after the other, took 8 minutes. Sautéing onions and tomatoes for pasta sauce, 10 minutes and 45 seconds on high. Bringing our pot of water for the pasta to a boil, 4 minutes, and another 6 minutes to cook the pasta. There was another 1.5 minutes to rewarm the sauce and stir in some cream. This second coffee took 3 minutes and 53 seconds for some reason. Then 4 slices of French toast, 4 minutes and 10. 6 minutes to make a grilled cheese sandwich. And yes, this is a reenactment because I forgot to film it when I was camping. We squeaked out one more coffee, and that was it for our cylinder of butane. This last coffee took nearly 5 minutes because the butane was starting to give out, so it wouldn't burn as hot or efficiently. So I hope that gives you a better idea of just how long different types of fuel will last, and answers some of the questions you may have had about butane and propane. Thanks for watching, and happy camping.